Hi Highlands Church, this is Pastor James. I'm here on Maundy, Thursday, and it's the middle of Holy Week, and it's the middle of this virus and all of the other things that are happening in our life. But Holy Week is a special time because it's a time for us to reflect on the sacrifice of Jesus. And I believe it's appropriate that it's raining out here today. And I love just taking a moment to think about the sacrifice of Jesus. Paul, in the letter called Hebrews, he actually writes to the church and reminds them that they can actually be emboldened and encouraged and lifted up by the sacrifice of Jesus as they reflect on the cross. See, the cross that we have does not have a depiction of Jesus hanging on the cross. Instead, it stands with a gold circle around it. And that gold circle is there to represent eternity, that Jesus is risen. He's not currently crucified. But on this time, we actually reflect that there was a time when he was crucified, that he did sacrifice beyond all imagination, that he did that for us. Jesus now is waiting at the finish line of a big race that we are running in our life. And I know that you are as exhausted as I am in different ways. Each one of us has a challenge that we are bearing, a cross, you might say, that we're bearing. Paul calls the life that we are living a race. And he says that the way that we can get through this race is first to envision ourselves being surrounded by a cloud of heavenly witnesses. Essentially, this is all of the people that are in heaven cheering us on. You can imagine stadium upon stadium of people just cheering and shouting out and saying, "You can do it." The second thing is for us to imagine ourselves casting off the baggage that we're carrying with us as we're running through this race of life. The bags are heavy and there's no reason to carry a backpack. There's no reason to carry extra clothing. So Paul is saying, get rid of that stuff. Throw it off. Don't carry things that are going to weigh you down. Dead weight is going to only make it harder for you to run this race. And what Paul is really talking about is forgiveness. He's really talking about those anxieties that we carry with us, which is really anxiety is just a manifestation of a spiritual heart that believes that we are in control. But when you really just lean into the truth that God is in control, there's no need for anxiety. And then finally, Paul talks about this race, and he says, when you're running the race, you want to make sure that you envision Jesus at the finish line, that you fix your eyes on Jesus, not necessarily Jesus who is on the cross. No, not that at all. A Jesus who's in heaven, who's seated on the right hand of God the Father, who is waiting for you with open arms, and by the power of the Holy Spirit is pulling you forward in this life so that you can experience life to the fullest. So my prayer is that you do reflect on the truth of the crucifixion, that you take some time and gaze on the cross, but also be aware and be keenly aware of Jesus, who is not on the cross right now, that Jesus is in heaven, that Jesus has conquered death, and that he waits for you with open arms. And so I pray that these words from Paul that are in the letter to the Hebrews, it's actually chapter 12, verse 1 through 4, could be an encouragement to you. Maybe you can take some time closing your eyes and imagining yourself in that race, imagining yourself surrounded by the heavenly witnesses, imagining yourself getting rid of those extra bags that are weighing you down, and imagining Jesus, keeping your eyes on Jesus in every way. Think about his life, think about his crucifixion, think about him being there with you right now. You can talk to him if you want to. So I pray that tonight, as if you get this message on Thursday, that you'd spend time on Thursday thinking about Jesus' time with his disciples at the Last Supper, that you'd later in the evening or even in the nighttime think about Jesus' betrayal and arrest at the Garden of Gethsemane and the betrayal by all of the disciples who abandoned him. And then you would think of his trial that happened late at night, hung trial basically, so that they could get this done. And then his crucifixion on Friday morning. And that as you reflect on this, as you reflect on the person of Jesus and who he is and what he has done for you, that it would give you what Paul says and believes you would have when you do this. You would have this extra encouragement to not give up. essentially the energy that you need to run the race before you and to thrive doing it. So I pray that today that you'd find peace and you'd find hope, that you'd look to the cross. The cross is the sign of hope in your life, and to the person of Jesus as the great encourager who waits for you with open arms. Take care. I love you all. I'll see you on Easter Sunday, and spend some time this week fixing your eyes on Jesus. Bye.